Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Cloud, Mobile, and Social, Great Apps and Services that will grow your business. I'm Steve Gerald, the webinar producer here at SCORE Association. Today's event is sponsored by YP Marketing Solutions through its support of SBA's National Small Business Week. All right, before we begin, we do have a couple of quick things to cover so you'll gain the most out of your viewing experience today. First, we are recording the webinar. A link will be sent out to all registrants, so don't feel like you have to capture every tip, every single thing that is said today, because you will have an option to watch the webinar again and on demand after the webinar is completed. We are also sending presentation slides to those of you who join our live webinar. This is our way and YP Marketing Solutions way of saying thank you for making time in your day to join us for the live event. You do have the ability to customize your viewing experience. I'll cover that in just a moment. And lastly, we will have Q&A at the end of the webinar, and we will be taking questions from audience members for that. At the bottom of your viewing console, there are multiple application widgets. Take a moment, see those? Take a moment and experiment with these by clicking on them, and you'll notice that they pop up and down. They can be moved with a click and drag and minimized when you're done. The widgets give you the ability to do a bunch of useful things. For example, you can ask a speaker of a question of our speakers or the webinar team. We will be taking questions throughout the live webinar, so feel free to ask questions at any time, and we'll answer as many as possible as we can during the time we have available. This feature is not available for viewers watching the webinar recording. The other neat thing is, see the Related Resources tab there? Lots of good, useful information up there. We encourage you to discover that area. You'll see useful links and downloads. That's the green widget at the bottom that looks like a folder. And of course, if you have any technical difficulty, please use the Help widget. It's the one with a question mark icon and covers common technical issues. Lastly, closed captioning is available for today's webinar. To view it, go to captionedtext.com, that's caption text with a D, and enter the event ID code 2920646, 2920646. In the Related Resources tab I just mentioned, you can also use a link there to go directly to the closed captioning. We're now ready to begin the webinar, Cloud, Mobile, Social, Great Apps and Services that will grow your business. I'm Steve Gerald, the webinar producer here at SCORE. Thank you for joining us. As you know, there are hundreds of different technology solutions, all of which tout how useful they can be for your small business. Well, today we have three speakers with us who we think will give you clarity about which ones are the most important, or at least give you a clear direction on ways technology can be used to manage and grow your business. As you'll hear, this webinar really is more of a discussion than a presentation, so we think you're going to enjoy listening in. Leading the talk is Gene Marks. Gene is a columnist, author, and small business owner who writes about business and politics on a daily basis for the Washington Post and weekly for Forbes magazine, Entrepreneur, Huffington Post, and FoxBusiness.com. Gene has written 5 books on business management, and he appears on Fox News, MSNBC, and CNBC discussing matters affecting the business community. Ramon Ray is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, journalist, speaker, and the publisher of Smart Hustle magazine and small business evangelist with Infusionsoft. Ramon has contributed to Entrepreneur, New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, among other publications. Jeff Beesman serves as Vice President of Customer Acquisition and Retention Marketing at YP. Drawing upon over 20 years of business experience, Jeff leads YP's account lifecycle strategy, designing advertising and direct marketing programs to support YP's marketing efforts in the small business community. We've got a really great group of speakers on board, everyone, and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We look forward to hearing your talk. For now, Gene, please take it from here.
And I'm glad to be involved here in this in this conversation. And Ramon, Jeff, you guys are there. Welcome. Please say welcome and say hello.
Thank you, Gene. It's really awesome to be here and glad to serve with you and Jeff. I know we're going to have a lot of fun, and maybe we'll share some information as well.
What do you know? What about
Likewise,
you, Jeff?
I'm excited to be here too with you, Gene, and Ramon.
Well, that's great. So look, here's what we want to accomplish really in the next half an hour or so. We want to go through and talk about just some of the apps that are out there. I mean, look, if you're running a small business or you're a manager in a company, you've got your day-to-day job. You can't keep track of all the different technologies and online applications, cloud applications and such that will help you run and grow your business. That's our job. So what we're going to do in the next half an hour or so is we want to fill you in on the latest and greatest stuff, the things that will really help you grow your business. And I'm going to kind of divide this conversation, and it is a conversation, really into two parts. I want to talk about some of the coolest new tools and applications out there to help you manage your customers and grow your customer base. And that's going to include CRM and project management applications. I'll talk about a few. Some retail applications if you're a merchant that you want to be aware of, and also a little update on where we are with mobile payments, because that's very important for anybody that wants to get paid. And then really the other big topic that we want to talk about is growing your business online. What tools and applications and technologies are available to help you achieve a better online presence, to help you market and advertise your company online, and to get you better return on investment with your social media activities. That's the key here, is to share with you those tools to help you do what we want to do to help you grow your business. So to start with, we're going to talk about managing your customers. And when it comes down to managing your customers, the very first area that's most important to any small business is, at least in my opinion, CRM. You know, we talk about growing your business, bringing on new customers, increasing your community. And, in 2016, one of the biggest growth areas that I have seen is CRM applications, customer relationship management applications. It's a $24 billion market, and it's actually slated to grow between 14 and 16% in 2016. So it's a giant thing, and I always feel that if you're running any business, no matter what size, what you do, whether you're in retail or distribution or manufacturing, everybody should have a CRM system. Ramon, you work for Infusionsoft, and that's a CRM system, right?
Absolutely. CRM, Gene, is so important. I mean, a lot of small business owners, they spend so much time, Gene and Jeff, in getting new customers, which is important and CRM can help with. But I really think the power comes your existing customers. What did they buy? What will they buy? What else can we sell to them? So I think that's some of the importance of CRM.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, when people ask me what a CRM system is, I mean, look, it's just a database. That's really the best way to describe it. And nowadays, it's a cloud-based database. I mean, most of them are in the cloud. There are a few old school ones that are still on-premise. And the idea of a good CRM system, guys, right, is that you've got everybody that touches your business is in that database. I mean, prospects, partners, customers, vendors, suppliers. Anybody, they're all in that database. And I always say to my clients that it gives you three big benefits for a good CRM system. I mean, nothing falls through the cracks when you're using a good CRM system. Everybody's got a follow-up. They're on a list. They do. There's always something else to do, like you said, Ramon, with your existing customers. So everybody's got some touch point for your CRM. There's always something else to do. Benefit number two is that nobody ever looks like a dope in your company. I mean, if your CRMs integrate with email systems, and you can take notes, and you can schedule. You're tracking your tasks, so whoever picks up the phone, knows who spoke to that customer last, or what was last done with them, or who their favorite baseball team is, or how old their kids are, or whatever. So, nobody looks like a dope when you're all sharing that information. Finally, it really does build intangible value in your business. If you have think about it, you've got a good, strong database in your company with all the people touching your company, and then one day you want to bring in a partner or sell your business, and you show them this database, prospective buyer will, they will pay something for that. Now, these are the big players in CRM, right? I mean, you see the list there. Now, Jeff, what do you guys use at YP?
Yeah, so Gene, we actually use Salesforce, which is
right.
one the bigger players in the space. And then we use a platform called Eloqua, which is sort of an offshoot of CRM in that it's doing marketing automation or automated communications to your customers.
It's great. Those are two really good things. Eloqua is that's a great marketing automation add-on. And remember, a lot of these CRM systems, they have add-on products to do a whole bunch of different things. Now, Salesforce is sort of the granddaddy of them all. And by the way, I apologize, Ramon. Like, I should have had Infusionsoft on this list.
You know, Dean, you are so forgiven.
You know, I want to give a shout out, right? I mean, it's a very, very good CRM application. Look, there are hundreds of really good CRMs out there, right? But you've heard of all these, Ramon, right? In your travels.
Yeah. And Gene, can I highlight the second thing you said? And I have, and as you said, I mean, all these at some point, it's like a car. They all do relatively the same thing. I think what difference is how you use them. But I wanted to underline, Gene, your point too. It's so important. Nobody looks like a dope. There's nothing worse than calling, your customer Mary, who just bought $10,000, $500 of stuff, and you know it, person A, but person B doesn't. So that's an important thing right there, just to make the customer feel like everybody's legit and on board.
It is so true, and you make me laugh because I'm in sales. I mean, and the products you sell. The worst thing that can ever happen to a salesperson is when they're calling on an existing customer to sell them like an upgrade or a new product, and the customer's having a problem with their existing product. So embarrassing. But with a good CRM system, you've got the history there. So you're like, oh, before I call this guy, let me see what's going on. Ooh, I kind of see he's got a support issue happening, and he doesn't seem too happy. I think I'll schedule that call for next week instead of this week. Give him some chance to kind of cool down. So these products that you see listed here are they're all really good, and they range in price. I mean, Salesforce is the most expensive. It's the granddaddy of CRMs, and it's an excellent product. But it's like $125 a month a user for their enterprise version. There are cheaper versions, but just apples to apples. It's kind of expensive. Microsoft's CRM system is embedded in Outlook. That's like $65 a month a user. Zoho is excellent. I call Zoho the poor man's Salesforce.com because it has a lot of the features of Salesforce, I know, and it's like $35 a month a user. Insightly is excellent. Method, Sage, Sugar, even Goldmine and Act. And then the other side of it is project management. I mean, customer relationship management is bringing in and nurturing your customers, but a really great project management application keeps everything on task inside of a company. Jeff, do you guys use any project managers at YP?
Yeah, Gene, we actually do. We use both Basecamp and Asana, and basically, everywhere I've gone, once we became, let's call it digital marketing organizations, I've used some kind of project management software, one or another, to really track projects and ensure that things are delivered on time. It's critical for us to get our work done effectively.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Ramon, you don't have to be like doing projects for customers to actually benefit from a project management application like Basecamp and Asana, right?
Absolutely. I mean, even small teams. Gene, I have, we're entrepreneurs. I've started a couple companies, and one of my ventures right now, Smart Hustle. I mean, we have a small team of about 10. We're not a large company, say like, Jeff's is at YP, but he uses Asana. Guess what? I do too. Even if it's just two guys or two girls in a garage to track projects with your executive assistant. So tools like this, Gene, I mean, man, they just make you smarter. They make you don't step on each other's feet and make you more productive for sure.
You're absolutely right. And again, I've found also with a lot of clients and myself, we have a lot of independent contractors, and a lot of times you hire people all around the country or around the world to do work for you. Collaborating using a CRM or a project manager, it really helps to improve communications and productivity. So bottom line is that, to improve your business, to grow your business, to increase your community, you got to be investing in a good CRM or project management application in 2016. I highly recommend doing that. Conversation about growing your business, and we want to talk about being online. Three big areas that are of interest to us. and I'm glad we have Jeff on the call for this, is to talk about growing your online presence, doing some better marketing and advertising online, and also leveraging some social media tools that are out there. So growing online presence, right? This is a field about sort of what presence, and your presence being your foundation. Jeff, I have to ask you, what is meant by this? Like, what do we mean by presence? Can you elaborate?
Yeah, so just take a slight step back. When you really think about marketing your business online or digital marketing, it's like building a house, right? So if you're going to build a house, you don't build it on a shaky foundation. And that foundation, to your point, Gene, is your presence. It's everything sort of at the center of, like, who is your business? And generally, we define that like by a website, right? So it starts with, I have a business, I'm going to build a website, it's going to talk about what I am, what services or products I offer, et cetera, et cetera. And then it's, secondarily about how do I list or promote across all of the directories and places on the internet, everywhere from a place like us at yp.com and Yelp and Foursquare and anywhere in between. How do I make sure that my basic information about my business is listed and listed accurately? So that's really your foundation. And I'll say one more thing, and I'll get into a few stats in a second for you, Gene and Ramon. But you should not do any promotion digitally, online, for your business until you are sure you have that foundation or that presence 100% right. And we'll talk a little bit about why that is the case in just a few minutes.
Okay. Well, I think it's an excellent point. I mean, when you talk about like listing management and website, what do you mean by listing management?
So again, that's a lot about you have a business and you have certain information that you share online about your business, right? Like your business name, your address, your phone number, your website, your hours of operation. If you're a restaurateur, it could be your menu. It's a variety of things, and that gets picked up across the internet at all of these sites. So it's Google, it's Yahoo, it's Bing, it's yp.com, it's Yelp, it's all those places that I mentioned before, and there are so many of them, right? And so it's having those accurate business listings. And why is this important? It's really important for two reasons. And first of all, by the way, we've studied the data, and we have friends in the industry, and gosh, about 43% of businesses have inaccurate and incomplete listings, right? So that's bad for two reasons. Yeah, it's a staggering number. It's bad for two reasons, Gene and Ramon. One is people can't find you, right? So if your phone number is not there and you've got a business where you take phone calls, that's a problem. The second thing is you actually get penalized by the search engines if your information is inaccurate or inconsistent. So that literally means that if you're doing search engine marketing, or even if you're indexed and you're high on their rankings, you're going to go down. So it's a really important thing that your listings are accurate. And there's software out there, software as a service, that you can purchase that actually will promote, propagate and clean up all your listings.
This seems such a basic thing, but why do you think so many business owners don't pay attention to their listings? I mean, my God, their store hours, their menu items. Like, why would they not? Why do you think that gets kind of blown off?
I think the whole, it's interesting, Ramon and Gene, I'd love for you guys to share your insights too, but I talk to local businesses and business owners all the time, and the thing here, and it's going to be important when we start to talk about mobile websites too, is it's an awareness issue. They don't even know they have a problem, right? Yeah. And what's cool is there are solutions out there, a variety of people that offer these listing management services where they'll scan your business for free, and they will basically tell you you're great and you're clean and keep doing what you're doing, or you have some issues. And then if you want, you can go ahead and buy the software to fix the issues.
Got it. Got it. Well, you mentioned about optimizing your mobile web. So let's talk about a few things mobile: search engine marketing, growing your business through mobile display ads, direct marketing. You mentioned about again building a foundation, right? So what steps do you want to take then to start marketing your business online? I mean, what would you recommend?
Yeah. So again, once you've built that foundation, I want to emphasize one other point, and that's mobile. And on the previous slide, it mentions that about half of small businesses don't have a mobile-friendly site, and it's vital, and it's become more vital. And we'll get into why that's the case in just a second. But Google is about to change the way that they rank websites again in May, and if your site is not mobile friendly, you will take a hit. And so it's incredibly vital. And the reason why Google does this, by the way, is because of the way consumers behave, right? So now that everyone has a mobile device, you're more beholden to the moment than you are to a brand, right? So we've got our device, we're carrying it around all the time, and there's this immediacy thing, right? You're in a moment, you need something, you turn to your device, and if somebody doesn't have a mobile-friendly site, then Google says, well, you know what? We're gonna promote the sites that are mobile-friendly. So if you're a business owner,
you know what? I always think
and
even if somebody finds your non-mobile friendly sites, they're gonna literally drive to your office and punch you in the face because it's so difficult and frustrating to navigate on your non-mobile friendly sites. So it almost seems like it's a necessity.
What's staggering about that is there are stats that say about 2/3 of people that hit a non-mobile friendly site, the next visit they make immediately will be to your competitor.
Right.
So you're absolutely right, Gene.
Right. Yeah, having that mobile-friendly site is really important. I have to also ask you about this before we move on to the slide. But I see about different kinds of solutions you could do. I mean, search engine marketing is going to be very, very important to make sure that your site is mobile-friendly, and that's going to increase your search engine optimization. What about mobile display ads? Do you see a lot of small businesses you're taking advantage of display ads? It seems like such a murky area and a difficult thing to get your arms around.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about mobile display, let's say relative to search engine marketing or even email and direct mail, is it's more what you would call, I hate to use a technical term, but what you call top of the funnel, like you're raising awareness for your business, right? Whereas search, if you think about search, when somebody's searching, they've got a specific need or interest, and you're meeting that need or interest at what we call down the funnel when they're ready to buy. So mobile display can be highly effective when it's coupled with other forms of digital marketing, but it really depends on your business, right? What are your objectives? What are you trying to accomplish? It can be murky. It's a little more difficult to track, but it can also work really well with other media.
Got it. Ramon, do you have anything to add about mobile display ads? Do you think that it's something that's worthwhile for most businesses to consider?
Yeah, only thing I'll add is that I would just say that, yes, it's worthwhile, but I think in my own case, Gene, I've tried it myself, and I think that it's just darn hard, meaning just like I'm imagining my guy at the pizza shop, he's wiping his hands off on his apron, makes great pizzas. As you said, Jeff, he's not thinking that people are searching for pizza around the block, even though they are. He's focused on that door opening and closing and mopping the floor. So, Gene, I just would add about mobile ads, it's easy, anybody can do it, but as you get into the fine elements of advertising, it's not just for every small business DIY. It takes a slight bit of expertise. You got to get the creative right. You got to get the ad right. You got to target it right. And so for me, I was like, you know what? Let me go back to what I do best, like eating pancakes or something. So.
Right. It's funny because all of these technologies that we're talking about, and right now we're talking about, making your mobile website, optimizing your website, you're dipping your toes into display and mobile advertising. For most of us, I can't do this. I'm not a guy that will do this. If I'm going to have somebody do it, I got to have somebody do it for me. And I think that's what it comes down to. This even has to do with you were mentioning earlier, Jeff, about small businesses not keeping current on their listings. I just think Ramon was saying, like, the guy that's running a pizza shop, he throws his listing out there, and then he's making pizzas. He doesn't have the time to make changes and monitor it and all. All this stuff, you need help. You need a service. You need people to help you really make it work. And I think every business owner should consider that none of these things they don't come alone. You need some kind of support. Jeff, let me move on. And yeah, so guys, we've been talking about all of these great mobile and cloud-based applications to grow your business, but for God's sake, we can't ignore social media, right? I mean, this is social media is such a great tool to help you grow your business in 2016 and 2017. And when I talk about social media, and you look at trends here, in this year, it's like a video world, right? I mean, you see the statistics like 75% of the internet is now being consumed by video, and most of that is like YouTube and Netflix. And by the way, I didn't even think the last season of House of Cards was that great, but I guess people are still watching Netflix. That's fine. So it's a
Be
video.
careful, Gene. Don't talk about House of Cards. Be careful now. Be careful.
Yeah. We're going to have people who are going to disagree with that. But, it is a video world, particularly if you're running a business, and there were some really great tools out there to help you grow your business, video tools. So, I mean, Ramon, let me start with you on this. I mean, like, you're familiar with these guys, right? Hangouts on Air and Periscope and Facebook Live?
Absolutely, Gene. I mean, I do video all the time. Not that all the video is good, but I do it all the time. And I think, Gene, listen, people are doing video to get closer to people, to get closer to their customer base. It makes you more personable. So these three tools for sure. Google Hangouts, listen, it's connected to Google. It's part of the whole YouTube ecosystem. So regardless of what people think about Google+, the aspect of live video using Google Hangouts is powerful and it's archived. Take a look at Periscope. Hello, that's connected to Twitter. Yeah, it has its financial challenges. But, I mean, Twitter's growing, hundreds of millions of people on it. So Periscope's powerful. Facebook Live, Gene, that's kind of my tool of choice just because that's where my community is, and it's only going to get better. There was the announcement, Gene, a few weeks ago, that Mark is really focused on all things video, all things live, and, of course, continues to be very aggressive about mobile. So these tools are powerful, and they're only going to increase.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm very. If I were to take a choice between these three, I'm most bullish on Facebook Live because I think Facebook's making an enormous investment in there. And look, Facebook is so popular among small businesses. It's where a lot of our customers are. A lot of people do advertising there. So that's why I like it. And they're great tools. They really are. And I got to imagine, YP, Jeff, will be, using those kinds of tools. Even big companies like yours are going to be employing those tools, don't you think?
Absolutely. We do currently, and I think video as a means to have that conversation on a more personal level with your prospects or your customers is not just here to stay, but it's going to grow tremendously over the next 4 or 5 years.
Couldn't agree with you more. And remember, if you're looking and you're thinking, what am I going to do with video, you want to give education. You want to give information away for free. Maybe you do a monthly Google Hangouts on-air TV show, because it really is like a free TV station, where you provide training for your customers or certification work, or you do a monthly Facebook Live show where you interview customers for case studies, or you have somebody from your customer service department give tips on providing better customer service. I mean, remember, all of this is great content, and if it's interesting to your community, they'll not only watch it live, but you'll save this on YouTube, on Facebook, on Vimeo, wherever, and then people can go back and watch it later. So, by all means, 2016, when you're thinking about social media, think about video. Now, there are some other social media tools I just wanted to share with the audience as well. So these are kind of hot and cool tools out there. Mention is a great search tool that goes way beyond what Google does. You subscribe to it, but it has a proprietary searching capability that will really find you or your competitors or other people that you're searching for in a digest, like a daily email of search results. It's excellent. Charlie wins the award for the most creepiest social media application I've ever heard. What Charlie does is it looks at your Google Calendar, and then at like 7 a.m. every morning you get an email with all of this background research on the people that you're going to be meeting that day. So it'll be, oh, Gene, I see that you've got a meeting with Jeff and Ramon, this afternoon. I don't know if Jeff is a big sports fan, and Ramon is used to work at the United Nations. I could say a lot of other stuff, Ramon, but I won't. But it does a whole bunch of right? It does a background searching, and it's crazy. It's like gives you all this information for people. And then So Cedo, I wanted to mention here just because it's sort of like a workflow tool for social media. One of the biggest issues with business owners like myself is we don't have enough time to do stuff on social media. This automates some of the stuff. Like depending on what somebody tweets or responds to your tweet or messages you, it'll then respond back again. You can set it up with workflow. I have to say, Jeff, what do we mean when we say social monitoring? What is YP social monitoring?
So there's really, if you step back, one of the biggest shifts in dynamics that's happened, which was Web 2.0, is that there's now a two-way conversation between a business and a customer. And what that's done for customers or prospects is give every single one of them a megaphone. So they're empowered now, and what that means, and you probably see it today if you've got a business, is people will speak out positively or negatively sometimes about your business, and your job as a business owner is to be able to respond to that stuff, right?
That's great.
When there is a good review of your business, you're thumbs up, and you want to take it and use that, and when there's something that isn't, you got to respond to it. So social monitoring is all about giving you the tools to listen to what your customers and prospects are saying.
And that's a service that YP provides. That's cool. That is very, very cool.
Yeah. It's really monitoring your listings and where they appear on the internet, not beyond social, but social is a huge component of that.
Great. So these are some great tools to use when you're out and about in the world of social media. But again, and I'll leave you. We'll just leave this topic. But I mean, the leading thought on social media is that it's all about video. It is. So have a video plan for this year. Get more content out using video. There are some great streaming services that you can use that I really think will expand your community and your audience. And everyone, don't forget, YP is doing a bunch of great breakthrough summits across the country over the next few months. We'd love to see you there. We'll be visiting these cities listed on the screen in front of you. If you want to register for any of these breakthrough summits, great presentations, education, and information to help you grow your business, just hit the link there. It's www.adsolutions.yp.com/breakthrough summit, or you can actually click on the little widget in front of you that says related resources. That'll take you to the registration page as well. Look forward to seeing you there. Well, everybody, that was a lot of fun, and thanks so much for joining us. Look, if you want more information about any of YP's marketing solution, you can see the link there. Also, our IDs on Twitter are there as well. But we're ready to open things up for questions. So if you've got any questions that you'd like to put forward to us, we'd love to take them. My apologies. I have to kind of step out. Unfortunately, I have another thing I got to do, but I'm going to let Ramon and Jeff and Steve handle everything. So enjoy, ask your questions, and have fun.
Okay, Gene, thank you, and that was a tremendous presentation. We're sorry you can't join us for the Q&A, but understand. Jeff is with us, as is Ramon. And fellas, you want to say hi to the audience again right quick?
Hey, Steve. Hey, Jeff. Good to see you all. Good to talk to you, rather.
Hello. Great to be here with you, Ramon and Steve.
Thanks. Hey, let's jump right into these questions because we did receive quite a few really nice questions as we were working through the presentation today. And our first one comes from Linda J., who wonders what specific software helps the presence get and stay cleaned up. Jeff, what do you think?
Well, it's a great question because she asked it the right way. It's not just get, but it's stay. And so obviously at YP we have a suite of listing management and location services software. It's our presence suite. And so what that does is it looks, first of all, we'll take a look and we'll scan your business and see where your listings are and how accurate they are, and then we'll clean them up. Basic information like name, address, phone number, and a bunch of other stuff, and then we monitor it on a continual basis. And so we do that, and there are providers out there like Yext is an example that also have a suite of software that basically does all that stuff. And again, it's not a one-and-done thing because as your listings are propagated, there's a risk that they could be propagated inaccurately, or from one site to another, something happens and all of a sudden your business hours don't appear accurately, and then you take a hit on the search engine. So it's really important that it's an active, ongoing process, Steve.
And Jeff, it seems to me that one of the realities in this online world is we don't know where someone is going to discover our business. We'd like to think we're on page one of Google search results with organic search results, but it seems there are so many different ways and places where someone can discover a company and find their way where they're a potential customer right then and there. Is that one of the main drivers behind this idea of listing management?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you talk about like two of the common awareness issues that business owners have today, it's that, they have listings out there across the internet and they may not always be clean. So I talk to business owners all the time, and there's data out there that says nearly half have inaccurate, incorrect or incomplete listings. And the other is, I know we're not exactly talking about this now, Steve, but it's a good point, is that they don't have a mobile-friendly website. And both of those things are like huge. And that's, again, part of what we talked about earlier during the webinar of having your foundation set before you decide to really promote your business digitally.
Yeah, that does make sense. And Ramon, what's your read on this, on listings? What are you saying as a small business owner? Are you also discovering that people are coming to you from a variety of different places?
Absolutely. I mean, Gene, listen, I was in a car with my wife, pulling up, one of the local listing services, going to a restaurant. Do you know how angry I was that the darn thing was closed? Because they didn't have their listing right. Now, do you think I'm going back again? No. So the point being, dear small business owner, as Jeff and Steve have alluded to and said, listings, guys, are important. And I think that, as we've talked in this webinar, the more businesses can automate the process and make it better and easier, the better it is for the customer, the better it is for them, and they can go back to growing their business. So absolutely.
Okay. Next up is a question. Really I can tell our audience is trying to really apply these principles. And we've had a question come in, and it's related to recommendations. And Ramon, what is your recommendation for a small business that is a service-based business rather than a product-based business? More specifically, it's a health service. Mm-hmm. What's your read on this whole technology bent that we're on today, and the idea that there are things that companies can do not only with their listings but for running their business?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Ramon.
Yeah, no, I think a few things. I think that let's not forget that although retail stores are hardware businesses, typically people come in, shop, and browse, that you're driving your car, riding your bike, going there. A service-based business, unless it's 100% online, there's value in having people stop by or having an address. And I think that, keep in mind, many of the listing services, Jeff, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and as Steve knows, Jeff, I don't mind anybody correcting me, but if I'm wrong, is that a physical address improves and helps with your search engine rankings. It's not the be-all, but just being able to have your address there. And tip, Steve, those that may not have a physical address, let's say you're working from home, you can always rent, one of the UPS store, Regis, WeWork type of locations, and at least be able to give the security of showing that you have a physical address, because that just makes you look more legit. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Well, and that bridges to our next topic, which comes from Letitia, and she says, as a freelancer, a just me person providing services remotely from home, she is concerned about what you just said, which is listing a home address publicly. Right. Any quick advice from you first, and then Jeff, on what you can do to establish that credibility that does come with at least having a presence online that says, hey, this person is a professional, they're responsive, and I can count on them to get the job done. Because sometimes people don't think that if they think you're home working in your pajamas in the kitchen.
Right. No, and a few things. I mean, one, of course, just to underline, definitely consider getting a virtual office address, physical address. New York City and the urban areas, dense populations have a lot of those. One. Two, Letitia, and thanks for the question, I would say, Steve, get a professional, at least, area of your home and take a nice picture of it. So you don't have to show your microwave with the, bacon on it or well, microwaves don't have bacon, but your stove, whatever. So, have your office to say, here, I'm in my office. They don't need to know it's at home, if you get what I mean, Steve. Have it look professional. Nobody will know the difference. And keep in mind, Steve and Jeff, as you guys know, home office is growing. It's kind of, popular and kind of not such a stigma anymore. So that's what I would say to that.
I agree, Ramon. Home-based businesses are great, and they're the backbone of where the economy is going. No disagreement. I agree with everything you said. I think, if you step back, as a business owner, whether you've got a brick and mortar location or you're virtual and you're working out of your pajamas, the internet sort of doesn't care, right? And so you have to your point, get a virtual address or get a PO box, but definitely have, it sort of lends credibility that you you sort of like operate in the physical world. But it's really important that everybody sort of steps back and thinks about their business as not just in a brick and mortar or virtual sense, but how it's promoted online doesn't really matter.
And Jeff, following on this theme for just a minute longer, Denise C. has noted that she's an online retailer without a brick or mortar physical location, and she notes that services like Yelp require a physical address. So I think it's really useful information. The other thing I would offer is I believe the UPS store in your local community, and they are throughout the United States. They also offer mailbox services, and there are also office sharing locations where you can have an office at a low price point where you can use that actual office address as well. So there are some solutions for you out there, folks. All right, we've had some questions come in regarding the idea of CRM. Several came in related to this. And we had a questioner who wondered, how do I get started with a CRM? Jeff, would you like to take that, or Ramon? Which one of you guys would like to tackle that one?
I can start off with it. I mean, I think that CRM is important, and I think that we can go, Jeff, you and me, Steve, can go for hours about it. But the bottom line is it's important to know what your customers have bought so you can sell them more of what they like, what they've bought so you can sell them more of what they don't know they like. And then I think 3, to extrapolate who else should be your customer. If I have, it's a longer conversation. So that's the essence of what CRM is. It's really a database in essence of knowing, what, these 500 customers bought from me, or these 3 customers bought from me. How else can I serve them? And I think to highlight the thing we said in the webinar, Gene and Jeff, as Gene said, that was the best thing. So you don't look like a dope, as it were. Guys, we're not, putting you down, we say this, but there's nothing worse than me being the customer, Jeff calling me and saying, hey, Ramon, would you like to sign up? Jeff, what kind of business were you going to have? Let's give you a car wash business, Jeff. Ramon, would you like to sign up for my car wash business? And then Steve calling me and saying, selling me something when I'm already a customer. So that's kind of what we meant by that, and I think that's the best use of CRM, Steve, is really so businesses are smarter, more nimble, can move faster.
Yeah, and Jeff, how are you using a CRM in your day in, day out activities, and what are you seeing small businesses doing when they basically implement a CRM, a customer relationship management platform?
Yeah, so there's really almost 3 parts to a CRM. One is the storage of customer data, and as Ramon mentioned, purchase data, interaction data, all of that stuff, right? And then and so we use that at YP, and it's very, very powerful. The second thing is sort of, if you want to call it the reporting or the tracking or the analysis that sits on top of it. And then there's the ability to put it into action. Right, so there's 2 ways, and that's like if you're the business owner, how do you quickly, easily access that info or package it up so there's some insight around it and you can do something about it, or how do you turn that into marketing communications? Let's just make it simple, like email marketing. So somebody I'll give you a very basic example, Steve and Ramon. somebody, let's say you've got an e-commerce business and somebody bought a product from you 90 days ago and it's 90 days worth of product, and so now your system is smart enough to send them an email reminder to refill that product. That's a very basic example of what a really good CRM can automate for you. Whereas if you didn't have that, you'd be digging through your files and your Rolodex and maybe calling that customer, and it's a lot of heavy lifting. So at the end of the day, it removes a lot of the heavy lifting and makes you smarter as a business owner.
That makes sense. And the other thing is there is so much for a entrepreneur, a solopreneur in those early days when you do not have a full staff to support your efforts and to support your growth. To have a CRM, that customer relationship management platform, can bring a lot of sanity to keeping up with the many tasks, the marketing, the billing, the communication, the follow-up emails, the purchase order follow-ups. I mean, there's so much to keep track of, and CRM certainly help in that way. Is that what you've experienced, Ramon?
No, absolutely. I mean, listen, without CRM, I think companies are kind of in the stone ages and just in operating backwards. And I think you need that capability to be fast, to be predictive. Businesses no longer have time to not pay attention to the customer. So many times they try to get new customers, and I'm saying you already have customers, sell them more stuff.
And I'm going to jump in. Oh, sorry, Jeff, I interrupted you.
Yeah, I think one very simple mental model for business owners to consider when they're going to buy software as a service, including CRM, is consider the cost of the employee effort, right? If you were to hire somebody that had to do that thing versus what it would cost for you to buy the automation or the tools. And really that's what it's all about, is it's sort of replacing and I'm all for employment. I'm very pro-employment, but where you can actually get more efficient, that's what the software is supposed to do. So it's really a replacement cost.
Jeff, the point I was about to make is that I have myself worked with Insightly. Listen, Salesforce absolutely is the granddaddy, no question about it. There's so much Salesforce power in terms of running a large business. It's tremendous. But for those of you who might be more toward the just starting out or the early stage of your business, I myself have previously used Insightly and found that they are a low price point, I think $9, $10 per user per month. And it's a basic CRM, but that's something we would I can recommend and say I had a great experience dealing with Insightly. So, all right, I'm going to move on to some other topics, and a question has come in from Christopher, and the question this goes back to the real core of business, and that's why I like this question. Christopher C. asks, what are some good tips for generating leads and networking for a small marketing agency? Jeff, what's your read on that?
So the question is, what are tips for generating leads?
Yes, in other words, how can technology be used to generate leads? Is that built into the YP platform as well in terms of lead?
Absolutely. So when you think about digital marketing, there's the present stuff, which is your foundation, and then there's the stuff about promoting your business and then sort of expanding your audience. And when we're talking to business owners, like the one of the best sources of generating leads is doing search engine marketing or what you call paid search, or some people call it pay-per-click. And really the reason why is you're reaching people that at that moment in time have a specific need that needs to be met. And especially today with mobile, when you have a need and you're using a mobile device, that need is like right now. And so being on the search engines and being mobile friendly and having a good SEM campaign is a great way to generate leads for a business. So, it's something that a lot of people provide. We happen to believe very strongly in our solution and think that it works as well or better than anybody.
Okay, and we've got a question from Kimberly S., and it regards businesses that may be working in the online virtual world only. And She wonders, how important is it to list business hours if a business is virtual? Ramon, how would you handle that one?
Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, Kimberly, again, thanks for the great question, Kimberly. And I would say that two ways. First, my knee-jerk reaction, Steve, you heard me say it's important, but I take that back. If you're virtual and completely 100% virtual, there's nobody coming in, I would say it's not a must. Nobody's going to be shocked. Oh, no, this virtual company that we're never going to go to doesn't list their hours. However, I would say do it thoughtfully, because anything that builds credibility is important. Now, here's what's important. If you're not listing hours, but yet somebody emails you at 4 o'clock and you happen to only reply to them the next day, Steve and Jeff, that could be a problem if you get what I mean. You don't want to set the wrong expectations is what I'm trying to say. So, somebody emails you, puts a form out, a question, they call, and if they're not answering, you're not answering, maybe you should have on your website, we're closed today. Some of the chat systems, lower right, nobody's there to chat. I like that because that sets my expectation. I don't expect them to get back to me right now. So that's what I'd say.
And I agree with what Ramon has said, right? It's part of it is if you're a brick and mortar business, it's when you're open. But the other part, if you're virtual, is when are you actually going to respond to me? And so the expectation setting is really important. Obviously, you want to be there when your customers are, so consider your business hours. Because if you don't, then your competitor probably will.
Yeah, that's very, very good advice. And we do so many times send something out and we await that response. And we have moved to a expectation in general where we think there needs to be an immediate reply, and anything one could do to communicate out that information to know when that reply might come in could be very, very, very useful. So. Hey, folks, we oftentimes have inquiries from people who are running nonprofits. Jeff, as you work with small businesses throughout the country, what is it that you're seeing happening with nonprofits? Are they doing these same things and working with the same priorities and challenges?
For-profit, nonprofit, it's basically the same. How you sort of incorporate your business or build your business platform. It's not, these tools are sort of ubiquitous. These techniques, these marketing strategies, you all have the same needs or the same, objectives for your business. So I don't really necessarily like to discriminate between for and nonprofit businesses. Ramon, you may have a slightly different opinion, but that's how I sort of view the world.
No, Jeff, I think you're 100% right. I just hate that aspect of, hi, we're nonprofit and we're looking for a free, low-cost, cheap tool that doesn't really work very well because, really? No. I mean, nonprofits have to understand that even though, yes, they have budgets, Jeff and Steve, of course, they can use these tools to drive donor engagement, to drive causes, and et cetera, et cetera. So clearly, nonprofits have a slightly different structure. Money's a bit different. But man, Jeff, you're on point. I mean, really, it's not about how cheap can I get a tool. It's does this tool help me affect? And in nonprofits' case, many of them change lives. So how much more important, I think, are these tools for a nonprofit in a way than a for-profit business?
And Ramon, what I think I hear you saying there is it all starts not with us providing, like here during this webinar, here is the answer, but it starts within that individual owner, that nonprofit owner or board member, that company owner, asking questions of themselves. What is it that I need to accomplish? What are my metrics? Is it revenue? Is it customers? Is it impact in the community? Whatever that might be. And then you work back with those objectives and apply technology rather than thinking, oh, I'm going to go out and get some technology and, hey, right, I'll apply it to maybe some objectives I have.
That is exactly what I was conveying.
All right, I'm going to jump over to content because we did cover a little bit on that. And this one absolutely is for you, Mr. Ray. Are you concerned about the quality of video? And should a small business owner be concerned about the quality of their video when it appears online?
So I'll answer that in two ways. And one short answer is no. If anyone takes the time to look up Ramon Ray, do a search. Well, maybe you don't want to do that because YP may be like, oh my God, we didn't know that was Ramon. But if you look at my video, it's low budget. I did a video today, Steve, at about 2 hours ago in the rain, looking terrible. But it has hundreds of views getting there. So my point being is, on one hand, don't worry about the quality. Worry about what you're saying. On the other hand, Steve, I do believe there's two kinds of video that is important. I believe one type of video is what I call a sizzle reel, or a video that's high quality, kind of your showcase. First impressions count, Steve. It's important. But there's other video, whatever business you're in, the proverbial bakery, business, law firm, spa, daycare, accounting firm. Pick up your phone, your smartphone, your webcam. Hey, this is Steve from Accounting Firm 101. 3 tips to, if you filed your taxes late, how not to be fined by the IRS too much. Do that once a week. So does that make sense what I'm trying to convey, Steve and Jeff?
It does to me, and I want to say I believe 100% that you did a video earlier today. I do not believe, however, that you look terrible in it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll take that.
Yeah, and in general, a quick read from me on video is that it's unfair and in some ways it's wrong, but we immediately gain an impression when we interact with another person, and especially if you are in a services-based business. Mm-hmm. Video is very important. They want to see that person. They want to buy services. Think about like a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant, whoever it might be. The human being is set up to judge quickly. Do I trust this person? Are they looking out for me? Are they elevating my game? And video is a really neat way to do that.
And Steve, one more thing I want to ask, Steve. Isn't it ironic, Steve, that many of the big brands are now, they're not doing them professional, but aren't they kind of, they want them to look more authentic, as they say, organic, look a little less polished, ironically.
More authentic, you're right, and it is by industry expert expectations, it's going to be the fastest growing digital marketing tool over the next few years. So I think everybody's really behind it, Ramon and Steve, as like the thing that you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, we've received a tremendous number of questions today. I'm sorry we cannot answer all of them. Before we part, though, it was important for me to turn it. Jeff, you've had a listen on this discussion today. Do you have any summary or any key things that you want to pass on to the audience members in terms of perhaps a starting point or a most important thing to consider when trying to find ways to use technology to manage and grow their businesses?
Yeah, thank you, Steve. And again, just I'll say this and get it out of the way. It was a real pleasure doing this with you and Ramon, and YP is happy to partner with SCORE and National Small Business Week. And so I think like the key takeaway for me is we're always out there trying to educate and create awareness around sort of like misunderstood or unknown issues. And a couple of them that are really important, and I encourage everybody to, like, when this is done, go check it out, are my listings accurate, right? So how's my business appearing across the internet, and do I have a mobile-friendly site? I go back to start with your foundation. If you're on a shaky foundation, then you shouldn't really be thinking about investing money in promoting your business, whether it be the search engines or display advertising or any other sort of method. So there's a lot of tools, and YP has tools like this that can help you understand whether you've got that stuff set or not. So that would be the one thing I would say is like sort of parting advice is make sure your foundation is set.
Yeah, and Ramon, certainly we want to hear from you as well, and wanted to hear, what's your one thing you want people to take away from today's conversation?
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid. Technology, Steve, can be very, very complicated, can be difficult to use, can be frustrating, but I'd say don't be afraid of it, Steve. Start out small. And as Jeff said, really big thanks to you, Steve. What a great host. SCORE. As you know, Steve, I'm a SCORE baby. I went to SCORE to help me in my business 20 years ago. Two more things quick to say is that
others can help you. I mean, YP's here, Steve, for those who find it complicated and frustrating. Give them a call. And don't forget, if you think Jeff and I were cool on the phone, YP's having a national tour. So I think, Steve, it's in there's a resource box people can check on and see us in cities across America. So I've had a blast. But don't be afraid, and start small and grow your business.
Well, thank you both, and thank you, YP, for your support of this webinar and for your support of National Small Business Week. I would like to also quickly note that this webinar is intended for informational purposes only. It's not an endorsement, it's not a commercial, nor is it supposed to be a sales pitch for any one company's products or services. And we think we've done a good job today providing you all with a lot of good ideas and starting points to get underway, or if you're already underway, how to evolve your efforts in terms of using technology to better manage and grow your business. Ramon, thank you. Jeff,
thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Gene, thank you. I again thank our audience, and for now say goodbye, and we hope to see you again soon on another SCORE Live webinar. I'm Steve Gerald. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.